Hey everyone, this is Dr. Nada and his cat Toffee, who decided to crash the video, which was completely unexpected. And today we're going to learn how to make custom action resource points or custom spell points in the Baldur's Gate 3 toolkit. We'll theme this video on Seborrhea keratoses, which basically kind of look like tiny horns under the microscope. And all the medical information will be at the end of each step, so feel free to skip around if you want. Most people don't apply butter to their face, worsening their acne. So we're going to save the pass the butter points for later, which my community voted as the action resource point that they're going to make. For step 1, we need a class to hold our custom action resource points, which I'm going to be referring to as carps from now on. Use my prior tutorial to accomplish this, shown at the top of the screen and linked in the video description. For step 2, we're going to make our carps. We're going to make a non-leveled one and a leveled one so we can see how to do both of them. There are several steps, so feel free to refer to the text tutorial that's in the pinned comment. Anyone can access it at this point, though feel free to join my Patreon and support me as a creator, along with my family, along with other benefits, of course. For part A, open up the UUID editor. For part B, make a new action resource definitions file. For part C, paste an action point from the matching file in shared for our unleveled carp and spell points for the leveled carp. For step 3, we're now going to customize our carp. Change the name field to something that's more easily referenced in the toolkit. Horn point is for unleveled, and irritated point is going to be for the leveled because seborrheic keratoses can get inflamed. So it's the opposite of polymath's love points, which you can show me by leaving a like on the video. Then change the display name and description fields so you can customize how this is all going to show up in the game. We'll call the unleveled ones horn points with a description of teeny tiny horn. The cuteness is vital because my community also voted for Minsk as the most terrifying companion if they were transformed into a dinosaur. Then we change the level points max levels, which is like making a leveled spell point. Since seborrheic keratoses can be variably inflamed, we'll set it to 3 for mild, moderate, and severe. You can then set the max value field, which will determine the maximum number of these points that you can have for each level. I chose 6 because people can have many of these skin lesions. You can then set the replenish type field to set when these points will be replenished. It can be never, turn, short rest, or rest, with rest corresponding to a long rest, and I chose rest. While there are other fields like show on action resource panel or is spell resource, I won't cover those right now. If you want to learn about those, let me know in a video comment along with any suggestions that you have on future tutorials. I have a running list and I would love to hear your suggestions. Along with sharing information about seborrheic keratoses, which are a very common lesion and develop more commonly as you get older. They look like this as shown on the screen. They generally are not associated with any health consequences and are linked with chronic sun exposure. For step 4, we're going to be giving these points to your class. Open up your progressions file in your mod, add the code that's shown on the screen to the boost field, separated from the other entries using a semicolon to ensure the action points get where you want. I added 3 horn points and 3 level 1 irritation points, so it turned out to be action resource parentheses horn points, comma 3, comma 0, close parentheses, semicolon, action resources irritated points, comma 3, comma 1, close parentheses. Irritated, like your GI tract after eating fire spiced chicken sausages, which my community voted as their top choice of brunch in Baldur's Gate, or like seborrheic keratoses. Usually they look like this under the microscope. So you can see these whorls made of dead skin called keratin forming what pathologists call horn pseudocysts. But when folks start scratching them, they can start getting a little bit irritated and inflammatory cells can come in and start reacting against them. Step 5 is going to be about making testing easier. So we're going to make it so our class can cast spells using these action resource points without having to level up and then prepare them. For part A, open up class descriptions. For part B, delete the yes entry in the must prepare spell field if it is filled in like that. For part C, save all your files because we're going to be moving to a new window next. Or go on to the rest of the tutorial as we finish up learning about Seborrhea keratoses. While these entities are more common with age, they're very treatable. Dermatologists or primary care providers can remove them if they start to get irritated or folks just don't like how they look. And they do all that using cryotherapy. So a licensed provider can shoot liquid nitrogen at the lesion that will kill the cells that help form it, and eventually it will heal. There are other treatments, but this is the most common. For step 6, we're going to make it so spells that we make use these points. While you can edit existing spells, we're going to be using new spells that we make. For part A, close the UUID editor and open up the stats editor. For part B, make a new spell using my prior tutorial. Let me know in the comments if you want to learn how to edit an existing spell rather than creating a new one. We're going to use the summon Quasit spell because it's a horned beast, along with the cold chromatic orb and ice arrows because cryotherapy is used to treat Seborrhea keratoses. The summon spell is solely for demonstration here because they are a bit tricky to accomplish. What we have here won't summon anything, but let me know if you want to learn how to modify summon spells because they're a little bit tricky. For part C, edit your spells, use cost field or other relevant field to use your points. For the Quasit spell, we're going to change the ritual cost field to use horn points. For an unleveled carp, it will be name of the point, number of the points. So in our case, horn point, 1. For the ice spells, we're going to set their use cost to be a level 1 and a level 2 irritated point. For a leveled carp, the format will be the name of the point, number of the points, level of the points. So for using a single level 2 point for our spell, it will be irritated point, 1, 2. After doing this, save all your files. For step 7, follow the rest of my spell tutorial and create a list with your new spells that use these points. Give your class the spells in the spell list by editing the selectors field in the progressions file back in the UUID editor. For step 8, we're now going to test this using the character creation as I showed how to do in my prior video. When you launch the game, you'll see your carps and the spells requiring them. As you can see, making custom action resource points takes a few more steps than you would think to make them work. Fortunately, making them happen is readily accomplished. Like my prior videos, this video will again enable you to customize your creations and create something that you can share with others and is so very unique because you can share these online or on a video game career portfolio. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe while considering joining my Patreon for more voting power on the next tutorial while also getting early access to my text tutorials. Starship out.
No. I want the truth. I want to hear it in your voice, not in my mind. I could say the same of you. There is something about you that disturbs me.